book of Mark, or if you read the Quran in Surah Ikhlas, and if you read the Quran, especially in chapter 51, verse 58, he says, وَمَا خَلَقْتُ الْجِنَّ وَالْإِنسَ إِلَّا لِيَعْبُدُونِ. And the meaning of it is, I only created you guys to worship me alone, without any partners. That's the message that came in all of the books that I mentioned to you. What's the first commandment for the Christian? Do we have any Christians with us tonight? Raise your hand. Any Christians? Okay. Did you ever read the Bible? It's a nice book. Did you see what the Ten Commandments said? Thou shalt have no other gods beside me. I'm the Lord your God, who brought you out of the land of Egypt, the house of bondage. And beside me there is no other God. Thou shalt have no other gods beside me. Is that the first commandment? Yes. It's in Exodus and in Leviticus. Check it out. It also says the same thing in the book of Mark. What's the great commandment? The great commandment is to know the Lord your God is one Lord, one God. And you have to love Him with all your heart and all your might and all your soul. How many? One. And what does He say in the Quran? A'udhu billahi minash shaitani rajim. I seek refuge with Allah from the cursed devil. Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. With the name of Allah, most gracious, most merciful. Qul huwa Allahu ahad, Allahu samad, lam yalid wa lam yulad. Say He is Allah the unique, the one who eternally takes care of all the creation, but He doesn't need anything from them. Samad. He's not the father of anything in His creation, and He's not the son of anything in His creation. He's not even like anything in His creation, because He's Allah, the unique. We find that same reference actually in the Bible, in the Old Testament. And it says in the book of Numbers, it said, God says to the people, God is not a man that He should sin, and He's not the Son of Man that He should repent. But human beings, us, we do make mistakes. We do need to repent, because we do make sins. So now we've talked a little bit about the fact that we believe there is a God. As Muslims, we can prove there's a God. So why not consider the message that the Muslims have about God, which says that He created all of us. He tells us in the 49th chapter of His book, the Quran, chapter 49 of Surah Al-Hujurat. He says in there that He created the human beings from a single man, Adam. One man, Adam. And from Adam He took a rib and He made Eve from that. And from those two He brought forth all the nations and all the tribes. And then He made us different so we could recognize each other. Now I'm going to add, this is me adding something, not to the book, but so you understand. Recognize as opposed to what? Hating each other. Just recognize each other. You don't have to hate people, because they're different. The more I travel around the world, the more I find that people really are not that different after all. If you're used to Curacao and you never went anywhere but Curacao, you'd be all right because you've got the United Nations running around here. You do. You got the mixture. Maybe that's why your hearts are so sweet. I don't know. But I've been in places, even in Muslim countries where they're supposed to be sweet, and I found people who were hung up on the idea that they were the right ones. But in fact, that can't be right, can it? Could it be that God only created one group of people to be saved? That doesn't sound like a very good religion, does it? Especially if you're not in that group. What if only the people with 3 eyes could make it? Well, we're all in trouble, aren't we? Think about it. Because there are religions that teach just that kind of nonsense. If you're not with us, you're not saved. And some of them even say you have to be born from us to be saved. And some of those, believe it or not, claim to be Muslim. I found some in certain countries, they said if you weren't born from them. One of them even told me, he said, you can't be a Muslim. I said, why? He said, because you don't have Muslim blood. You didn't come from the genealogy of Ali and Fatima, which is the daughter of Muhammad, peace be upon him. I said, if that's the case, then why do we even need the Quran? You guys got it made. We don't need any religion at all. He just got mad and walked away. So, the religion of God is the next subject we need to tackle. What would be the right religion? Well, why don't you make up one, and I'll make up one, you make up one, you make up one, and you make up one. Then we'll compare them and see if we like them. And if maybe I'll just keep yours, maybe I'll share some of mine with you. Would God be obliged to accept any of it? Why? How can you tell God what to accept? Imagine, I'm going to let you use your mind again. Imagine a boy goes into his mother one day and says, Mom, I love you. She said, you do? Yes, Mom, I love you. She said, well, why don't you wash the dishes? He said, no, Mom. I mean, I really love you. I brought you some flowers. She said, I'm allergic to flowers. They will make me sick. Get those roses out of here. Why did you bring me flowers? He said, well, for one thing, I like flowers. They smell nice, and I got a good deal at Kmart. You have Kmart here? What do you call it? Something for less. What is it? Cost you less? Yeah, cost you less. So the next day, the same boy comes to his mother. He said, Mommy, I love you. I love you. She said, okay, mow the lawn. He said, no. I brought you chocolates. She said, I'm diabetic. I eat it, I'll die. He said, I can eat it. And I got a good deal. It costs you less. It means what? He doesn't love her. He loves himself and his pocketbook. That's what he loves. He's making up his religion, isn't he? So if we make up a religion, God doesn't have to accept it. It has to be His religion for us, and He has to show us what He wants us to do, and if we can't do what He orders us to do, we have to at least die trying. What does He want from us? He already told us, don't worship anybody but me. He already told us, 5,000 years ago, He told Moses on Mount Sinai, tell him this, don't worship anybody but me. He told Jesus the same thing. Jesus said the same thing. I worship my God and your God, my Lord and your Lord. And then somebody played with it after that. And then Muhammad, peace be upon him, came and he said the same thing. Your God, my God, your Lord, my Lord. Worship Him, don't worship me. And then some people came along and tried to play with that too. There are people today who try to worship Muhammad. I've been to Mecca and I've been to Medina and I know where he's buried because they have it marked right there, and I've seen people try to pray to him. And what does that mean? They're breaking the rule, aren't they? You can't worship God except on His terms. So that takes care of that little subject. And now what I'd like to do is take a break, a little water break. And then I'm going to be back. You're listening to Today Islam, and we're broadcasting all the way from the island of Curacao. Did I say it right this time? Yeah. I'm getting better. About the time I have to leave, I'm going to have it down perfect, you know. Okay, we'll be back after these important messages. You're listening to 700 AM, the IBN.net. Visit us on the internet, IBN.net, or 700 AM here in Washington, D.C. I'm your host, Yusuf Estes, and we'll be back right after this. Let's see what happens with our little slide presentation. Of course, those of you who are listening to this can't see it, but I'm going to try to narrate it as we go. First of all, we'll let you know that this is the Islamic media presentation. And we're going to be talking today about Islam. Islam is the world's fastest growing religion. More people enter Islam every day than we can count. Why? Because of the truth and the proof. Watch these little letters fall down there. That's too cool. I'm sorry, but folks at home can't see this. They're missing something. The questions come up that we need answers to. What is Islam? What's it got to do with terrorism? Who are the Muslims? Understanding Islam and the Muslims. Who are they? What do they believe? The answers are today, Islam. Of course, we're putting a commercial in there for our website too.